Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Cut and Chop. And this is about basically a sociopath who's an actor who gets cast in a film as like the serial killer kind of butcher, and he starts method acting hardcore and living that life. And this is such an interesting film because this is written, directed, and starring Drew Hale, who, as this main character, is creepy and unnerving and delivers such an effective performance at the center of this film to really have a grasp on how weird of a character this is. And it's really well shot. There's some really impressive filmmaking going on here. There's a particular moment towards the beginning where him and his significant other are making love, and just the way that it's shot and the energy it captures, it's uses slow motion, and there's a lot that is portrayed in those scenes in terms of his energy and their relationship, and it's really interesting. But there's parts of this film, the acting, besides him, that, like, there's one particular scene between the actress who plays a significant other and her friend from work that feels straight out of The Room. Like, it reminded me of the scene where Lisa and her mom are talking, and it's like, well, I do have the cancer, and, like, it's so wooden and awkward and just terrible. I'm just like, what am I watching? And I was really disappointed because, and this isn't like a poorly created film like The Room. Like, this is a well shot, there's a lot of filmmaking talent going on here. And just some of these, like, there's the scene where it's talking about their relationship, and she's just like, he, like, bit a piece of me off. And this awkward delivery from her friend from work is just like, well, that's what you get from dating younger men. And it's just like, what? And I just was sitting there in confusion, like, is that actual dialogue? Is she serious? Is she making a joke? And it was played straight, but, like, really wooden and awkward. And there's so much of that in this film, where it's just like, besides Drew Hale, there isn't a whole lot going on in this film. And it's really well made. The screenplay for this, it's really weird because you feel like the natural progression of the story builds up and blows off halfway through the film, and then you're kind of just stuck aimlessly wandering the whole rest of the second half of the film, focusing on less important characters. And it's just like, I feel like we've blew off the story already. Why are we still going? And then the film kind of just ends at one point, and it's just like, okay. And some of the logic of some of these characters, they're complete idiots. Like, this is some of the worst dumb decisions in horror movies that you could possibly make. Like, guy pulls out creepy head-shaped basket from under a bed and says, come down here, I want to show you what's inside. Okay. And the guy just bends over and looks in it. It's just like, what's going on here? And these people are so stupid. And it's one of those moments where you're just sitting there like, I can't. This is too stupid. People are acting too dumb. And it disappointed me because there's so much going for this film, especially, basically, the direction and the acting that Drew Hale had here. There's so much potential in this film that feels like it's squandered because of poor acting and lazy writing. And in the end, I look forward to seeing what else Drew Hale can do. But I feel like this particular film, Cut and Chop, is kind of just a mixed bag that doesn't really come together as one coherent, impressive film. And in the end, if you're a horror fan, you might get something out of this. You might get some thrills out of this. But in general, this is not going to be, like, have someone who doesn't like horror movies watch this with you. This is not going to change their minds. But in the end, I feel like Cut and Chop has some potential and makes me more excited to see what Drew Hale does next. But in the end, I'd probably pass on this one. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.